The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Sonexay Siphandone, Prime Minister of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. I request protocol to escort His Excellency and invite him to address the Assembly.
Madam President, at the outset I would like to extend my warmest congratulations to Her Excellency Annalena Baerbock on her election as President of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Taking this opportunity, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and would like to offer our full support upon discharging your duties, and also to express my sincere appreciation to His Excellency Philemon Yang for his leadership throughout the 79th session, with significant outcomes achieved in many areas. Madam President, this year marks the 80th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations. This General Assembly being held under the theme Better Together 80 Years and Beyond for Peace, Development and Human Rights is of historical significance as it recalls the shared aspiration of the international community that led to the adoption of the UN Charter in 1945, following the catastrophic destruction of the Second World War. This courageous decision, beyond its historical importance, also reflected the collective determination of all nations in charting out a new direction for safeguarding global peace, anchored in the principles enshrined in the United Nations Charter, including the peaceful settlement of disputes, international cooperation, solidarity, and peaceful coexistence. The Charter established the fundamental principles that have guided all member states in promoting peace and fostering multilateral cooperation over the past 8 decades. Although the world has encountered multifaceted challenges and at times brought us to the brink of destruction, it was through the international community's firm adherence to multilateralism that we were able to overcome these obstacles through the peaceful settlement of disputes, allowing all humanity to live in peace, stability, and prosperity. These achievements underscore the tangible success of the United Nations in fulfilling its given mandate, with the Charter continuing to serve as our guiding compass. Madam President, today our world continues to encounter interrelated and deeply rooted challenges, leading to heightened geographical tensions and rivalry, widening inequality, combined with the lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. These factors continue to threaten international peace and undermine development progress. In many regions, disputes and armed conflicts continue to persist, inflicting devastating consequences on the people across the globe. Therefore, we must redouble our efforts and exhaust all possible means to collectively address these challenges through dialogue and peaceful settlements, thereby protecting the hard-won gains and preventing further setbacks. in the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In this context, the Lao PDR supports the UN80 initiative proposed by the Secretary General, which fully aligns with the emerging opportunities and pressing needs of time. This initiative reflects the international community's continued commitment and aspiration to strengthen the United Nations in addressing the emerging global challenges. I firmly believe that in our ongoing efforts to reform the United Nations, priority must be given to maintaining peace, which is the most essential foundation for advancing sustainable development, ensuring justice, and preserving human dignity. At the same time, we must strive to further enhance the effectiveness of the UN's working methods and mechanisms through comprehensive and inclusive reforms. Madam President, the Lao PDR attaches great importance to enhancing its partnership with the United Nations. Over the years, our contributions in various areas as a member state reflect the steadfast commitment to promoting the role of the United Nations and upholding the principles enshrined in the UN Charter. The UN Charter provides the fundamental principles to which every member state must adhere to safeguard global peace and create an environment conducive to sustainable development. Over the past 7 decades, cooperation between the Lao PDR and the United Nations has been gradually expanded. With the UN playing an essential role in supporting the country's socio-economic development. In 2025, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the Lao PDR's membership in the United Nations. On this important occasion, as a peace-loving nation, I would like to reaffirm the Lao PDR's firm commitment to the principles and objectives of the United Nations. Madam President, we welcome the successful outcome of the high-level meeting on the peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine and implementation of the two-state solution, which was held in between 28 to 30 July 2025. The adoption of the New York Declaration marks an important milestone for the international community in reaffirming our collective commitment to the pursuit of peace, justice, and shared responsibility. The Lao PDR continues to support the two-state solution, with the state of Palestine and Israel living side by side in peace and security, in accordance with the relevant UN resolutions. The Lao PDR sincerely hopes that the long overdue question of Palestine, which has persisted for decades, will be resolved by peaceful means. On this note, we call on the international community to intensify our efforts to support recovery and reconstruction work for the Palestinian people to return to normalcy. Drawing from our own experience, the Lao PDR believes that the war is never the answer, and the only path towards resolving conflicts is through diplomatic means, mutual understanding, respect for sovereignty, and adherence to the principles of international law. The Lao PDR is of the view that unilateral coercive measures is not only contradicting to the United Nations Charter and international law, but also hinders sustainable development and impose unjust suffering on innocent people. We must therefore redouble our efforts to foster enabling environment for peace and development cooperation among all nations. And in this regard, the Lao PDR once again joins the international community in calling for lifting the economic and financial embargo against the Republic of Cuba including the removal of Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism and the elimination of all unilateral coercive measures imposed on sovereign countries. Madam President, the midterm review on the implementation of the 2030 agenda has shown that we continue to face numerous challenges. In this regard, the Lao PDR reaffirms its strong determination to implement the SDGs and welcomes the adoption of the Pact for the Future. The renewed commitments aimed at strengthening multilateral cooperation and advancing the key priorities of the United Nations. For the Lao PDR, the SDGs have been fully integrated into the National Development Agenda. We will continue to attain the SDGs through the implementation of our National Socio-Economic Development Plan, which, with consolidated efforts to enhance resilience and better respond to the current circumstances, including climate and environmental challenges, by applying climate-smart technologies. Likewise, we recognize that enhanced international cooperation, as well as access to new technology, innovation, and financial resources remains essential for countries in special situations and the most vulnerable groups. Taking into account its specific development needs and unique circumstances, the Lao PDR has therefore adopted the National SDG 18 entitled Lives Safe from Unexploded Ordnance. UXO contamination continues to pose major threats to the livelihood of the Lao people across the country and hinders national development efforts. Taking this opportunity, I call upon the international community to increase its support and assistance in addressing the UXO issue, including through the implementation of the International Convention on Cluster Munition, particularly by supporting the Lao PDR's presidency of the Third Review Conference on the Convention on Cluster Munitions in 2026. We are gratified to note that the Lao PDR continues to meet the thresholds for LDC graduation. To ensure a smooth and sustainable graduation, we are currently implementing the Smooth Transition Strategy through close consultations and cooperation among the concerned sectors and development partners, in view of maintaining a positive momentum in the post-graduation period. Despite numerous challenges faced, the Lao PDR remains firmly committed to fostering self-reliant capacity and building resilience in all dimensions, including by putting in place basic economic structures, developing human capital, and enhancing domestic productive capacities, in view of realizing a self-reliant and independent economy. These efforts constitute the key objectives in the preparation process for LDC graduation, in line with the upcoming 10th Five-Year National Socio-Economic Development Plan for 2026-2030. The Lao PDR commends the successful outcomes of the Third UN Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries, particularly the adoption of the Awaza Program of Action. The Lao PDR will continue to streamline this program of action into the upcoming National Socio-Economic Development Plan to achieve our national development objective of transforming from a landlocked into a land-linked country. For the Lao PDR, infrastructure development for connectivity has been a top priority. In this connection, notable progress includes the completion of the Lao-China Railway, the development of the Lao-Vietnam International Seaport in Vung Ang, and the railway extension connecting Khamon province in central Lao PDR to Vung Ang seaport is also in the pipeline, as well as all expansions of the dry ports and multimodal transport service hub. These initiatives have contributed to the efforts to reduce transportation costs and open new routes for regional economic and trade integration. Madam President, climate change and natural disasters, which are occurring more frequently, have had severe impacts on many countries, including the Lao PDR. Therefore, the international community must redouble its efforts to implement the Paris Agreement and strengthen disaster preparedness, climate adaptation, and mitigation, and to reduce the impacts of natural disasters. To ensure sustainable use of natural resources, the Lao PDR has adopted the National Strategy on Climate Change and remains committed to fulfilling its national obligations outlined in its nationally determined contributions. However, adequate financial support, technology transfer, and capacity building remain crucial for effective implementation of the said commitments. In this connection, we call on the international community to fulfill its obligations, particularly by providing $100 billion annually to support global climate action and assist the most vulnerable countries. Another untapped potential for sustainable development lies in digital, scientific, and technological innovation, which can serve as a powerful catalyst for accelerating progress toward attaining the SDGs. The Lao PDR supports the implementation of the Global Digital Compact and underscores the importance of digital access and inclusive governance, aimed at enhancing mutual trust and shared benefits. At the regional level, ASEAN continues to underscore the importance of digital transformation and the application of modern technology to enhance efficiency and strengthen adaptability. At present, ASEAN is accelerating the negotiation process on the Digital Economy Framework Agreement in view of positioning the region as a leading digital economic hub, promoting regional integration, expanding global connectivity, and enhancing the capacity necessary for addressing the emerging challenges of the modern global economy. Madam President, in conclusion, I would like to reaffirm the Lao PDR's commitment to promoting and supporting the United Nations in fulfilling its mandate, particularly by upholding the principles of the UN Charter. I am confident that a strong and effective United Nations not only plays a vital role in maintaining global peace and stability, but also accelerates progress towards achieving the SDGs and ensuring that the benefits are equally shared among all member states. On the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations, I am confident that this offers an excellent opportunity for world leaders to discuss and explore all ways and means to safeguard peace and collectively address the challenges facing us today, as well as create a conducive environment in which all humanity can live in peace, security, justice, and prosperity. I thank you.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the Prime Minister of the Lao People's Democratic Republic,